G'day, Marty here, Australian horticulturist. Now, if I was to start again right at the very beginning and be a complete newbie, and I had someone like myself that wanted to share the knowledge with me to help me get started, what would I say to my other self? Like, as standing there, I knew that that was that person there, that was me. The whole thing's really weird, but I wanted to share these top 3 things. What would I look back at and want to know? What would I want to learn? What should I learn first? Maybe that was the best thing. It's not always that sexy, but the 3 things, you've got to understand soils, microclimate, and water. Now, these 3 things, if you can get them together and do them accordingly, do them properly, then you're 99% of the way there. Because when you've got a really good soil, a really good humusy alive soil, I'm just making my compost here as we speak, you're pretty much most of the way there. Because if you don't get your soil right, if you don't have your medium correct that you're growing in, then nothing's going to grow good. You grow in bad soils, doesn't matter what your microclimate is like, what you're doing, you're not going to get it right. You're just going to have bad, crappy soil. That's bad, crappy plants, basically. So what would I recommend that you do? You know, there's so much waste around the place, and we have a lot going in and out of our garden. So I recommend that you learn how to compost, even if it's just a small amount in a tumbler, and it takes you a year to get it right. That's a year that you'll get it right for years and years to come after that. And then also, if you're going to be buying products, look at buying from a reputable person that grows something really good, that cares. It's not just chasing money and actually wants to help you and provide you and give you some tips and give you a superior quality product. Now, that will help. And also, go to a place where, if you're buying it, where they will talk to you, and there actually is someone that knows something about gardening and about plants that can help you out and guide you along the way. Now, look at this. I'll just show you something so you know the quality of what we're talking about here. There's 2 nice big nightcrawler worms there, and I'll put them back into the compost, back into the bins. Just dug them up out of the chicken manure section, and they keep the soil nice and alive. So when you're building your soils and you're learning about soils, you're learning about composting, and you start seeing worms in your garden, you know that the soil is becoming alive. When you start seeing a little bit of fungus pop up, so a little bit of mushrooms here and there in dark spots and after rains and things like that, you know your soil's coming alive. Now, you don't want to go in there and just dig and dig and dig and dig. Maybe the first time you've got compacted soils and you need to loosen it up and get the air back into it, fair enough. Then after that, you want to just add to the soil. Just add carbon, add compost, add anything organic matter to the soil, and just keep building it up over time in layers, just like the forest does. And then you're on your way. Now, number 2 that we're talking about today is microclimate. I'm just going to keep composting while we're doing this because I'm multitasking as we speak. So microclimate, everywhere's different. You know, like in places in like Melbourne, down in the temperate far south, some microclimates, they can grow tropical trees. Unbelievable. Who would have thought that you could grow a mango or an avocado so far south? But because they understand microclimate, or they place themselves in such a place that they can actually grow these type of plants much further south than they should be. And everywhere has its microclimate. Like in Byron, where I live, there's a little bay, the big bay, and right in the corner of the bay, when there's a southeast wind or an east wind, you can get in there in winter and still sunbake. It might be 19 degrees here, where I am. I've got a jumper on in the shade in Mullumbimby, about 10 k's off the coast. But if you get in a spot out of the wind, and people go there and sunbake and swim in the middle of winter in Byron Bay, and it would be about 24 degrees in that corner there. So if you lived in a spot like that, you could grow like lots and lots of plants all year round. Now, I used to live in an apartment, and in winter time the sun is lower. So the sun used to boom straight into the apartment veranda, and winter time was the best time for me to grow. It was the ultimate little microclimate. In summer it went across, and so it was over high, so the sun didn't get in. And it just used to get on the edges of the veranda. I used to put everything real close. But winter, yeah, I used to do best. I used to grow tomatoes, beautiful big tomatoes there in winter. And that's in the subtropics, right on the Queensland border there. That's where I first started Marty's Garden, actually, as a container gardening, worm farming / raised my daughter, learn how to vlog and shoot videos for the first time. So microclimate's really important. And if we understand the sun, where it's moving, and the cold winds where they're coming, we're trapping sunlight and dispelling winds, we can then create our own microclimates. Even like a greenhouse is a form of its own microclimate. Shade houses, for summertime, form of their own microclimates. But if you can build something like a U-shape that stops the cool winds coming in and traps the sun as it comes around, and you put your garden beds in there and you put your little forest or trees and plants around the outside, you can create a microclimate. You can also create a microclimate like in the corner of a house where the sun shines off and hits a white wall. The cool winds don't come in there and the light's reflecting back off. And there might be some bricks on the house that heat up through the day and then radiate the warmth back to the plants overnight so the plants don't get cold. You've created a microclimate. So microclimate's very, very important. Now obviously there are more things, but when you understand these three things, you're really getting forward. Now, I just made a video that I released about leaves, plants on leaves and thin leaves and thick leaves and waxy leaves and hairy leaves and stuff like that, and it talks about that. So go and check that video out on my channel and make sure you look at that so you understand things as well, so the plants that live in these microclimates, and you'll get a better understanding of what's going on with that. So water, that's why I mentioned leaves, because some plants need more water, some plants need less. So what we want to do is understand our plants' needs. Some plants just need a lot more water. That's just how it is. I've just got to get some more chicken manure here to add to this. And some plants need less. But the understanding of watering, the first at the beginning, is with new plants and when you're doing a new garden, is you want to water nice and deep. You want the roots going down, chasing that water. If you keep just spraying over, you get a shallow root because the roots are searching along the top surface, and when it dries out, they dry out quick. So you want the roots going down, down, deep, deep, deep as possible. Now, not all plants have long deep roots. So if they don't, like strawberries and lettuce and things, you want to have more mulchy, composty stuff that holds a lot of water in the top, because lettuce need a drink every day, otherwise they get bitter. Strawberries, they need a drink nearly every day as well, even though they've got a wide leaf, a wide waxy leaf. They can go without in the cooler days like what we've got now. So understanding water is very, very important for your plants. And also you can add nutrients to the water. So how much nutrients do we add to the water to help our plants get along? Now I like to add a weaker version and apply it more often than what they say, like on the bottles of liquid fertilizers and things like that. So hopefully that's a good tip. Look, there's a lot more to it, to horticulture, but if you understand those three things, you're 90% of the way there towards success. And learn about soils first and understand how plants grow and what they need and their requirements in the ground, and then they stay healthy above the ground. And that way we do much, much better. Now, if you've made it all the way to the end of this video and you've got some really good value out of it, please give me a thumbs up. Let me know if you've got any questions down below in the comments box. I'd love to hear from you. What would you add to that if you've got horticultural experience or gardening growing experience that you think would be number 4 down below, so the guys can go in and read the comments and learn along the way from my community here. And also, look, unreal, a guy gave me 3 or 4, 5 coffees. So buy me a coffee, Marty's Garden. So it's what, buymeacoffee.com/martysgarden. Bought me 5 coffees, and it's really helping because at the moment YouTube's taxing me because I've got some problem. They reckon I'm not an Aussie or something like that. So weird. Anyway, that's my rant to finish it off. Have a great day. Happy gardening. We'll see you at the next video real soon. Bye for now.